The first one there, a single night play is an example of a comedy, farce, melodrama, opera, and playlet. The answer is E, playlet. So it's a single play, very short, without any acts, no other thing, just a single act, and that is playlet. The next, an account of a person's life written by himself is called A, autobiography, B, biography, C, citation, D, memoir, and E, profile. The answer is autobiography. Autobiography is you are writing your own history. The other one is biography, which is the contrary. Somebody is writing your own history for you. The next question is a play that evokes horrific and grave atmosphere and is best classified as comedy, farce, satire, tragedy, and the last one there, tragicomedy. The answer is tragedy, because it is full of horror, brings about fear, and you see a lot of death or something that terrifies people. The next question, poetry depends largely on dash for literary presentation. A, language, B, meter, C, mood, D, rhythm, and E, tone. The answer there is language, because when you even talk of meter, you cannot talk of meter without the use of language. You cannot talk of the mood without the use of language. So you can only discover your mood when you speak. The rhythm too, we want to see, when you speak, when you sing music, we learn from language. I think you speak out something. And tone too, there's no way we can know what is inside your mind without speaking it out. So the answer there is language. That's A. The next question, a dramatist can also be called A, actor, B, author, C, novelist, D, playwright, and E, poet. The answer is a playwright. A playwright. So a dramatist is also a playwright. Somebody like Wole Soyinka, Olarotimi, anybody that writes a dramatic books is called a playwright. Next question, aroma. This is a quotation. The aroma of our food took my breath away. It simplifies the use of A, hyperbole, B, irony, C, parable, D, personification, and E, simile. The answer is personification. So because of the use of the aroma of our food took my breath, as if it's carrying something, it's a human being that took away your breath. So using inanimate object using qualities of human for inanimate object, that is personification. The next question, the principal female character in a novel is called A, actress, B, clown, C, hero, D, heroine, and E, villain. So the answer there is heroine. If it's a male, it is a hero, but on the part of female, it is heroine. Next question, poetic drama is only written in A, meter, B, rhyme, C, rhythm, D, stanza, and verse. So the answer there is stanza. Just like what we can call in prose. Another name for stanza there is passage or chapters. But instead of calling it chapters in drama, we call it a stanza. Then if it's line in prose, we can have sentences. But rather than calling sentences in a poetic drama, we can call it verse. But here, everything is written, it's called stanza. The next question, character that grows with a storyline is described as flat, foil, major, minor, round. So it is a major character. Starts with the story and also end with the story. So you follow the story just like the story is going. The character is also flowing. He doesn't die, just the story centers around such a character. So we call it a major character. The next question, histo narration, a drama, histo, A, acting, B, chanting, C, reading, D, recitation, and E, singing. So when you have a prose, it is narrative. In drama, it is acting. There is no drama without action. So you want to see the act, the way it is act. So the answer there is acting. The next question. So when a narrator ends a story where that earlier began, the plot is said to be A, cyclical, B, linear, C, logical, D, organic, and E, shifting. The answer is cyclical. So it goes round, come back again, goes round, unlike linear. So just follow the same pattern, the same line. The organic, I also call linear organic. You know, you organize it straightforward. But this one is not straightforward, it's cyclical. Can we have the next question? He lived a lovely life. Simplify the use of A, alliteration, B, assonance, C, pan, D, repetition, and E, rhyme. The answer there is alliteration. And let me explain why we have alliteration. So you can see that lived starts with a consonant word, L. Another word, L, lovely, that's another consonant, and life. So it's also a consonant. When you start each of those words having a consonantal start. So we have L, 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 and that is an example of alliteration. So can we have the next question? The concluding part of a Shakespearean sonnet, and that word is sonnet. A sonnet is a 40-line poem. The concluding part of a Shakespearean sonnet is a couplet, an octave, a quatrain, and a quintet. So the concluding part, you know, a sonnet is divided into two parts. We have the first 8 lines. I mean, the first part is 8 lines, while the next one is what we call sextet, and sextet is divided into 2 there. We have the first part is octave, which is 8 lines. The second part is sextet, which is 6 lines. And the 6th line, the last 6 lines divided into 2. We have the first one, which is quatrain, that is 4 lines, and the concluding part is 2 of that 6, making couplet. So the answer there is A, couplet, that is concluding part there. The next question, the use of repeated signs to represent thoughts and ideas of a writer. So the use of repeated signs to represent the thoughts or ideas of a writer is A, diction, mime, motif, poetry, style. So this one is talking about the thought of a writer. How do you discover that thought? What is going on in the mind of the writer? We call it motif in literature, motif. So we have that kind of motif in literature. What is going on in the mind of the writer? You can easily discover it along the writer's mind. The next question, an indirect reference made to another literary work or field of human endeavors is A, allusion, B, euphemism, C, irony, D, litotes, and E, metaphors. So the answer there is allusion. We have several types of allusion. It could be classical. You make reference to classical examples. It could be biblical, when you are making reference to the Bible. It could be historical. You are making reference to history. And that is an example of an allusion. The next question. A literary work that seeks to ridicule events or people in order to cause a change is allegory, B, fable, C, Gothic, D, myth, and E, satire. So the answer there is satire. You want to ridicule, it could be a person, an individual, it could be a country, it could be a group of people. So if you want to ridicule them and you don't want to mention name, you can use any similar name in writing. And that is satire, example of satire. Can we have the next question? An author's use of words is referred to as A, dialogue, B, diction, C, language, D, symbol, and E, tone. The answer is diction. When they also make use of language, could be either in poetry or in prose or even in drama, making use of different vocabulary or different a word that have different meanings. So we call it diction. The next one, the device through which differences in opinion and ideas are brought out in a literary work is antithesis, B, irony, C, metaphor, D, oxymoron, and E, pun. Let's look at it again. The device through which differences in opinion and ideas, you bring them together, they are brought out. We have different here. This one is different from this one. Not the same idea. So it is called, if it's one idea, we call it thesis. But when you have different idea, we call it antithesis. Can we have the next question? Literary device used to predict future occurrence is called A, flash across, B, flashback, C, foreshadowing, D, interlude, E, prologue. The answer there is C, foreshadowing. It's talking about the future. It's talking about what will occur in the future. You can create a kind of suspense, trying to predict. And whatever it predicts come to pass before the end of that works of art. So it is called foreshadowing. Let's have the next question. An amusing interlude inserted in the middle of a tragic play is called aside, B, comic relief, C, contrast, D, flashback, and E, soliloquy. The answer there is comic relief, which means very tense atmosphere, particularly in drama, maybe a tragedy, create fear, suspense, and is that the atmosphere is so tense up. In the author may bring what we call comic relief, at least to cool down the tension so that people can laugh, and some characters are just like that. Very tragic atmosphere. They can cause amusement. So when you are trying, the author will use it to ease tension. So the term is a comic relief. Which of the following is not a feature of poetry? So this is often common in Jamb question. Which of the following is not a feature of poetry? So A, lines, B, scenes, C, stanza, D, tone, and E, verses. When you look at it, you look at line, you can see line in poetry. Scenes, this one occur in drama. Stanza, this one is common in poetry. D, which is tone, it too you can begin to see it in poetry. And verse also. So the answer there is C, is a feature of drama. The highlights, the highest point in a literary work is A, climax, B, epilogue, C, prologue, D, resolution, and E, suspense. The answer there is A, climax. That is the highest point in literary work. The peak, the moment a protagonist realizes his tragic flaw in a play is A, anagnorisis, B, anticlimax, C, catharsis, and D, climax, E, denouement. So the answer there is catharsis. Is borrowed from French. It's a French word. So it's catharsis when a protagonist realizes his mistakes in a tragic play. Our feet are as cold as ice. So you can see there are two things there. Comparing somebody's feet to an ice. So it's an example of A, hyperbole, metaphor, oxymoron, personification, and simile. The answer there is, which is option E, simile, because it's a kind of indirect comparison. So can we have the next question? Dinner tonight comes with a gun wound. If you underline gun wound, do you want to eat dinner with a gun wound? It's very metaphoric. It's the meaning is has a lot of meaning, that you cannot see on the surface. So it implies that the dinner is going to be A, chaotic, B, colorful, C, peaceful, D, sorrowful, E, sumptuous. So the answer there is sorrowful, because it's not something palatable. When you eat a dinner that comes with a gun wounds, so it's not palatable at all. It's not joyful. So the answer is sorrowful, which is option D. Anon said that the king was roaring like a lion. The king was roaring like a lion. Roaring like a lion. Just like we have an example that is similar, comparing the king to the roaring of a king to that of a lion. So it illustrates the use of metaphor, metonymy, onomatopoeia, personification, simile. The answer is E, simile. So it's an indirect comparison. Next question. The art of communicating through movements and gesture. The art of communicating through movements and gestures is A, aside, B, dialogue, C, mime, D, monologue, C, soliloquy. So you are using your body, you are gesticulating. So this is also common, particularly in WAEC, NECO, and a Jamb question. So the answer there is mime. You are not speaking, you are just using your body, you are using you are using eye movement, eye contact to profess what you are trying to communicate. So C is the answer there, mime. So let's move to the next question. A momentary respite in between two dramatic actions can be referred to as A, conflict, B, epilogue, C, interlude, D, resolution, and E, suspense. The answer there is D, resolution. This kind of respite after a lot of tension. So something is cooling down and going down. You are reading a play, or you are watching a drama, the atmosphere is tense up, and when there's a kind of respite, things are settling down and things are coming back. So it is resolution in drama. Next question. Resolution of conflicts in a play is A, anticlimax, B, climax, C, denouement, D, deus ex machina, and E, suspense. So the resolution of a conflict in a play is denouement. In some author we also call denouement, they call it resolution. So another name for resolution is denouement. Denouement is not an English word. It is from French. Can we have the next question? A Black Woman. This is a poem written by Leopold Sedar Senghor. It is an example of, when you look at himself, the man called Leopold Sedar Senghor is always projecting the image of Africa, the culture of Africa, that African culture can, be projected into the whole world. So he's writing about culture, and here we have some options there: lyrical, negritudist, pastoral, romantic, traditional. So the answer is B, negritudist. So the man himself, Leopold, is a negritude poet. So this is a man who projects the image of Africa, the culture of Africa, to the whole world. To say we have a culture, there is no doubt about it. The way we dress, the way we speak our language, our food, everything. This is the man who has been projected using his writing, particularly his poems to project the culture of Africa. So he's a Negritude poet.